Get those clubs out, get that green jacket on. It's Masters time in the world of golf, the first major of the year. You've reached the Overrated Experience Sports Betting Podcast, episode 31. Thanks for joining. You can follow the Overrated Experience on Twitter at OverratedEXPER2. That is at OverratedEXPER2. Follow us there. Add anything you like regarding to betting, sports, comments, picks, strategy suggestions, whatever you want, put it on there. We want you to join us, join the community and make it grow and spread the word. Also, new is a Facebook page dedicated to the Overrated Experience. You can type in Overrated Experience on Facebook and you'll find us and join and be able to talk, give us your picks there as well, and also give us your insight on betting. So what's the show about? Well, this is a sports betting podcast, not for the not for the pro bettor, not by any means at all. This is for the amateur bettor, the square bettor. That's what they call the amateur. Where we look at the top leagues in the world. We look at interesting news in the sporting world, give our comments, give our takes. And you know what? Basically what you're doing is following my journey as a recreational bettor for the last 30 years, looking to get better, somewhat close to maybe being a professional one day, but I thought by putting this podcast out there, I might get a little closer and go over a lot of topics and learn a lot of things. So welcome, join the community. Shout out to our regular listeners from the west side of the USA, and that's in Washington State. Thanks for joining us once again last week and weeks on prior to that. Also local folks here in Scarborough, also the GTA area. Thanks for joining. See, we had somebody join us from Green Bay last year. Go Packers. Don't really mean it, but I do mean it if you'll come back again and visit us because we would love to have you. So the Overrated Experience this week is going to focus the show on the Masters. The Masters, April tournament is the first major of the year in golf. It signals the start of spring. The weather's turning, the snow's melted, a lot of rain, but and we're going to see a lot of rain in the Masters apparently. But opportunity to step outside your comfort zone. If you haven't bet golf before, this is the time to at least kick it off or observe or learn and look at the different wagers so that you can be prepared as the summer progresses and you have your regular PGA Tour stops. Maybe some of you want to bet some live golf. And there's 3 other majors along with the FedEx Championship that happens throughout the summer leading into the fall. So get ready, sit back, take some notes, and we'll get to the Masters in a moment, but let's do a little bit of a recap. So that recap starts with the March Madness final on Monday. UConn easily wiped out San Diego State 76-59, covering the spread of 5.5. Not a problem. UConn was a team of destiny. They mowed through each round, never really looked back. And what stands out from this tournament is the number of brackets that were busted very early. I know I've said this on the show. I took Arizona right off the bat. They got knocked out, upset first round. And I thought my bracket was done. But it turns out that everybody in my pool, at least, and I've heard other brackets also facing the same scenario where everybody's favorite lost. Purdue, Kansas, and you name it, they're pretty much out. So in my experience, I stumbled to be tied for first leading up into the Final Four weekend, lost that position and tied for second, 3-way tie for second, and our winner gets paid. Got paid out. They had their best bet was UConn making it to the final. So, I mean, really, everybody stumbled across the finish line, and nobody thought they had a shot in hell to win based on the early results in the tournament. Now, here's how bad our bracket was: is that if the rumors are true. Now, I don't like to spread rumors. I do like to listen to rumors, but I don't like to spread them. But the rumor provided to me about our winner was that our winner may have been under the impression that they were picking football teams. I don't know if this is fact or this is fake news, what the story is on this, but that goes to show you that this is a total crapshoot when it comes to picking a bracket and winning some money. And I said this for those who listened in before the tournament started. It's amazing how many people turn down the opportunity to fill out a bracket because they don't know anything about college basketball. Well, I can tell you our winner thought it may have been college football, maybe NFL football, maybe XFL. I have no idea what the thought process was going into the picks, but all I know was it was winning. There were winning picks. So they got paid. Whatever methodology they used, it worked. Mine didn't. So congratulations to our winner, and congratulations to all you bracket winners out there. I know you had a shitty bracket like I did, but you may have got paid, and that's what counts. But other, learnings coming out of the tournament would be that as a college basketball observer, when it gets close to conference tournament time and then also tournament time, I am now putting it on the radar to be more in tune as we get to the start of NCAA basketball, college basketball. There are so many games. If you check the board each night, there are opportunities. There have to be opportunities to find lines that are in our favor. I believe, and I could be wrong, and some of the pros out there will correct me, but obviously football and maybe college football are the top two professional bet sports out there. But college basketball is not that far behind. Maybe even passing college football. I don't know. But college football is up there. There are more holes and a lot of lines, and we should be able to find them. And I've marked that down as an opportunity leading into the next season. So I hope you do too. What else happened in March Madness? Well, it's over. You know what? I think what's on the rise as well as the women's March Madness. I didn't get too much into it, but a lot more betting action, which does drive more eyeballs to the tournament. And they spread out the women's tournament that would be on a few days where the men's one was not, which is smart. And I think a lot more money and a lot more betting action might drive more attention to the women's game, and that's smart. And so if there's opportunity there, why are we turning it away? We should also be looking at that. So maybe more to come as we get back into both men's and women's college basketball season going into next year. All right, a few other news and notes regarding some news. UFC news and WWE news. Yes, UFC 287 is happening this weekend on Saturday night. But before we look at that later in the show, some big news that came out that involves the UFC and WWE. So Endeavor, who owns the UFC, has now bought controlling interest in the WWE. So if my understanding is that they bought 51%, and the idea is that they will create a new corporation that will umbrella the WWE and the UFC. They're two separate businesses, but under the one corporation umbrella. And this means that although it's no longer solely owned by the McMahons, Vince McMahon will still be in charge. He has got a key position on the board. Looks like Triple H will remain. Dana White will remain in creative control, that is. And then Dana White will maintain his role as UFC president, match booking, which he does. So this will be a mega entertainment company. Interesting. And it looked like the WWE obviously was looking to sell for a long time. And they landed on this deal, which makes sense because Vince continues to be involved. Now, what's funny about this, and maybe something that I would suggest you Google or check on Twitter, is that Vince, as this was being announced, showed up with his nice new thin skinny mustache that I can't even describe it. It's when you watch Vince McMahon on TV for 30 years and he's looked one way, and for him to be a 77-year-old man that suddenly woke up one morning to rebrand his look and look like a cheesy European, I don't know. You have to see this thin mustache to comprehend what he looks like. He looks like a villain, or I don't know. Like he should be smoking a cigarette or something. It's very weird, but check it out. Vince McMahon with a thin mustache that does not look good at all. So, other news. in the English Premier League, coaching move. Graham Potter, who 9 months ago left Brighton, a team that was on the rise in the EPL and is still playing very well, left to take an opportunity, which is hard to blame him when Chelsea decided to move on from Thomas Tuchel. And Graham Potter took over the role in Chelsea, which for those 9 months was absolute disaster. New owners, American owners, invested heavily into Chelsea in the transfer window, and the Chelsea's looked horrible. They looked like they had no direction, and it was a matter of time. I'm surprised he lasted 9 months. So I don't know if I feel sorry for him for the fact that he was considered a bright coach with Brighton. No pun intended. Actually, might have been. Goes to Chelsea, looks like a complete idiot, and he'll most likely have to start all over again. But I can envision him picking up a role in a floundering EPL team and start building his resume back. But wow, horrible. Absolutely horrible. And they're even talking about Frank Lampard potentially coming back as an interim coach. He was already there. He did nothing with Everton. Chelsea, good luck. I mean, you won the Champions League 2 years ago. You're not that far off from being at the top of the mountain, and it's just come crumbling down. As a Man U fan, I don't mind. So, too bad for you. So that was the story on the EPL front. Going into the future in the next couple weeks, you're going to see me post on our Twitter account and our Facebook page interesting information and or bets related to the NFL draft. The NFL draft takes place on April 27th. That's a Thursday. And if you look at your sports book, and again, I'm using FanDuel. I should have more than one, but right now I'm just using one at the moment. FanDuel, as an example, has several props. If you are a hardcore football fan, this is the kind of betting you want to do. And this is the kind of opportunity now, weeks leading into the draft, when you're looking at what players may go to what teams may pick by position. There's a whole bunch of stuff that's very intriguing to you NFL fans out there, including myself, that if you make a move today, or if you make a wager today, one trade could solidify or put you in a better position for a team, let's say, that is focusing on getting a quarterback, or a trade may screw you because the team has moved up or down, which takes you away from the pick you selected and put money down on. So take a look at it. We'll dive a little closer. But Richardson, quarterback from the Florida Gators, seems to be that Zach Wilson type player that we seen 2 years ago out of Brigham Young, now with the Jets and now pretty much on the bench. But Richardson has, on his pro days in the combine, showed a rocket of an arm. This kid is big. He's got strength. He's got mobility. He's got the full package. But the thing is that you can't tell how it's going to translate to the level of the NFL. So a team like the Colts looks like they're very interested in Richardson. Are they going to move up to make sure that they're in the top four to make sure they can get him? We don't know. So this is why it's so intriguing. We might see 3 or 4 quarterbacks go right off the bat, right? And, Carolina's taking a quarterback. The Bears, they traded up with the Bears to get the first overall pick. So it's going to be an interesting draft, but I think there's value there. And keep an eye on Twitter. There's a lot of information, inside sources that may give you an opportunity at your sports book to make a few dollars before the month of April is done. So that's the NFL draft. We'll talk about that in upcoming weeks, but I thought I'd throw it out there as you want to get on that now. Now, here we go as far as the Masters and breaking down. Again, I am no expert in any way, just a man who's interested in a big event like the Masters and throwing a few dollars down to see, make it an entertaining long Easter weekend. So here we go. So for those sports bettors out there that are usually betting the traditional, baseball, hockey, basketball, football, golf betting is very interesting. I would recommend, for entertainment, obviously, that there's a lot there. And there's various different wagers that you got to be prepared for. Some of the common wagers include obviously outright Masters winner. And obviously, I think you would think and know and should know that that would mean who do you think is going to win the tournament. So I'm not going to dive into much of that, but that's obviously there for you to check out on your sports book and see, what you get Scotty Scheffler, what you can get Rory McIlroy, the odds are John Rahm. Those are the top guys you want to look at. And then there's also match betting where you will pick your sports book will line up two golfers head to head, and your bet is based on their results against each other. So, as an example, let's say you took, John Rahm, and he was matched up with Rory McIlroy. And it turns out that they both finished 10th and 11th in the tournament. It doesn't matter. Your bet's based on, between those two, the outcome throughout the 4 days. And so that's where you want to maybe find a few matchups that are intriguing there, maybe in your favor. So some of them that stand out to me, of course, are for that match betting, since we'll get into that, is I like Cameron Smith. And I like Cameron Smith coming over from the Live Tours, plus 140 against Patrick Cantlay. Now, Patrick Cantley's a great golfer, and he's on the PGA Tour, and Cameron Smith is, after his British Open victory last year, moved quite quickly over to the Live Tour, took the big check, let me go back here. But I think a plus 140, that's probably up there. Being on the Live Tour has probably hit his odds, but I still like Cameron Smith. If his putting is there, that's to me is the big thing. If his putting goes to shit, then this is a shit pick. But Cameron Smith at plus 140 throughout the tournament to be ahead of Patrick Cantlay, I'm going to take it. Other picks involving match betting include Jordan Spieth, a former Masters winner, taking on John Rahm. John Rahm's, one of the best players in the world. He started off hot as the season kicked off, but I like Jordan Spieth here at plus 118. John Rahm's hit the skids a little bit in the last few weeks, so let's take a chance on value there at plus 118. Corey Connors, the Canadian, just came off a victory over the last week where it was kind of a thin field, but Corey Connors obviously coming in with a lot of confidence. Minus 120 over Matthew Fitzpatrick. Minus 120 is value to me, and I think Corey Connors is going to have a good, solid tournament. Do I think he's going to win? No, but I think he's going to have a solid tournament, and I like those odds at minus 120. Scotty Scheffler, the hottest golfer in the world right now, Masters reigning champion. He's got the belt. He's flashing the belt. I don't know if he has the John Cena spin belt or he's got, the Roman Reigns belt. I have no idea, but what I'll tell you, he's minus 122 to take on Rory McIlroy, who everybody believes is the best golfer in the world. However, he has not won the Masters, and I think those odds are boosted a little bit. I think Scotty Scheffler should be more of a favorite, but a lot of pundits out there believe Rory's going to have his time, and maybe this year is his time. I just don't think so. I think Rory's going to be snake bitten for a while at the Masters. There's too many good golfers, and I think if he starts out slow tomorrow, he's done. All right, another bet you have to look at, and this is for each round. So Thursday's round, this is what my picks are for tomorrow. It's not for the tournament. It is for the single day. And you'll see a bet out there called 2-ball or 3-ball. All it really means is that you're betting a golfer in the groups that are playing with each other. So right now there's a couple groups that are a 2-ball, meaning that there's only 2 golfers in the group versus 3, which is the majority of groups that are out there throughout the day. And you're trying to pick the one golfer that is going to win out of those 3. So the 2-ball, there's only 2 groups. It's not really worth betting, but I thought I'd throw it out there, is Kevin Na is taking on Mike Weir. Mike Weir is a former champion, but he's really out there because, he's a former champion. That's pretty much it. He's been irrelevant for a long period of time. He's Mr. Nostalgia now of how I won the Masters years ago. He's not in it to win it. He's in it to wear the green jacket, have a nice dinner, and move on with life. Kevin Na is a minus 230 favorite. I don't know where you can parlay that. I couldn't get the good parlay going, but technically, if you want to win $100 and put up 230, Kevin Na might be your bet over Mike Weir. Just saying. Now, 3-ball, which again is the majority of the bets here for tomorrow, and the 3-ball, I have quite a few bets actually for 3-ball, which I like, and hopefully it provides value. So we have the group of Patrick Cantley, Adam Scott, Kurt Kitayama, and I like Patrick Cantley at -115 to win that group outright. Next group, Cameron Smith at +150, taking on Hideki Matsuyama at +185. Sanjay, I wrote down the name wrong, but anyway, I like Cameron Smith +150 in that group. Next group, Phil Mickelson +280 against Tom Hodge and Siwoo Kim. I like, you know what? Why not take a shot at Phil Mickelson? Why not? He's a Masters winner. This is a course where a lot of golfers have a feel for the course, know the course, have an advantage. This is not a regular situation. History does mean something here. All right, next group. Dustin Johnson, Corey Connors, Justin Rose. Well, Dustin Johnson, DJ, when he won the Masters, he owned the Masters. He was on fire not too long ago. Since left for the LIV Tour, has kind of been irrelevant. But I think at +145, there's a lot here where I think DJ might come back and make some noise and maybe win another trophy. But I like him in this group for sure. We also have Tom Kim, Rory McIlroy, and Sam Burns. I like Rory McIlroy here at -135. The thought process here, I guess, or a flag is that Rory at -135 is decent, but he may start out slow, and that what's may hurt him. So maybe the Rory McIlroy bet is better as a lengthier 4-round bet, but maybe round one's not the play, but I'm going to go with it anyway. -135 is a decent for a caliber golfer like Rory McIlroy. So other bets to look at, and some interesting bets as well, is something called round scores. I think it's pretty straightforward when I say round scores and what that could mean. And that means is that the book that you're on, in this case FanDuel, will list a bunch of golfers that will provide a score, and you'll have to choose over or under. So I picked 2 golfers, and here's my choices. So Tiger, you've heard of him, right? Tiger Woods. He's kind of a name out there. However, what do we know about Tiger Woods right now? We know that he's one of the best ever to play the game of golf. He's the GOAT. And that's not to say one of the best. He is the best to ever play. He's the most dominant golfer that these eyes have ever watched. And he's grown the game big time. He's a living legend. But he has obviously had trauma to his body, auto accidents, surgeries. And the question is, will his body hold up? And if it does, for how long? Can it get through 4 rounds? Can he walk the course? You've seen last year where he had a strong first round, and then things kind of fell off the radar for Tiger. But FanDuel has him at 73 or worse, meaning that he'll be +1 over par. And I think he will. I don't think he's going to come in and dominate. I know he knows the course like the back. Nobody knows the course like Tiger. But I think that -106, there's value that he'll just come in at least slightly over par. So I'm going to go with that. Another one where I'm going the other way is the hottest golfer right now, Scotty Scheffler. Scotty doesn't know, but I think Scotty does know here. And that is he'll be at least 3 under par. So I need him to shoot or have a scorecard filled out with a 69. Hey, all of our favorite numbers, as you know. And that's a +128 benefit. So if you bet $100, you're going to win $128 profit. And I'll take Scotty Scheffler to, form reigning champion of the world or reigning Masters champion of the world to come in at 69 and get paid. Now, another popular bet, and I don't really have a play here, but just want to throw it out there, is make or miss the cut. So you have your book will show you players and odds for players you think will miss or make the cut, meaning that if you're not familiar with golf, the Thursday and Friday has a large number of golfers, and then by the time the second round is about to be complete, there'll be a cut score, meaning that a score that has to be achieved for golfers to be able to play on Saturday and Sunday. So they shrink the field to the top scorers. Look into that more if you have more questions. I don't have time to explain it here, obviously, but that's what that is about: making the cut or missing the cut. Now, here is an interesting bet. Now, one of the major stories here at the Masters is PGA versus the Live Tour. And if you don't know what the Live Tour is a Saudi-backed tour that's throwing a lot of money, run by Greg Norman, to bring a lot of names from the PGA over to play that tour. And there has been a lot of legal battles, a lot of animosity. Rory, Brooks Koepka, a lot of shots back and forth. And the interesting part is what's going to happen if a live player does come into the Masters and win. Is that going to rock the golf world? I mean, this is like, for you wrestling fans out there, this is like the emergence of WCW challenging the WWF, now WWE. And the Live Tour guys are like the NWO, the New World Order. So this is very interesting, a part of the big storyline here, and something to keep an eye out for. So guys like Brooks Koepka, Cameron Smith, obviously Phil Mickelson, Bryson DeChambeau, and other golfers that are a part of the Live Tour. Many of those, there's a lot of former Masters champions as well that have moved on to the Live Tour. So this is like an NWO coming back and trying to take over. So it should be very interesting. I would love it if it turned out that Rory, who is the face of the PGA, or Tiger, one of those, turned on the PGA on the 18th hole on Sunday and went heel, just like a la Hulk Hogan at Bash at the Beach, and turned on the guys from WCW. You'd have Brooks Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau as Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. Cameron Smith with his cheesy mustache being Six Pack, a.k.a. the 1-2-3 Kid, a.k.a. X-Pac. It'd be fantastic. Good for golf. Good for drama. Good for Twitter. And something to read for us. Maybe not good for other people, but at least entertaining for me. So Live Tour versus the field is a bet you can make. So if the winner is a Live Golf Tour member, you'll win plus 500. So $100 will win you $500. Why can't Cameron Smith win? Why can't that happen? You know, why can't Brooks Koepka have a great round and win the... I think Cameron Smith's this shot, to be very honest with you. I think he's the guy that's going to make a run here. But very, very interesting. Live versus PGA. It's on. It's on. And a few other interesting bets, at least on FanDuel. There's a few golfers out there you can bet on how many birdies that they're going to have in the round. So different odds for different amount of birdies they're going to get in the first round. You could also select a golfer who's going to win based on the country they're from. So you could bet Corey Connors is the top Canadian golfer versus the other Canadian golfers in the round, or top American or Northern Ireland golfer. You can even bet on the top left-handed golfer. So guys like Phil Mickelson and Bubba Watson in that mix, and maybe you want one, or maybe you think they are the best left-hander, and that's the bet you want to make. There's a lot of bets to be made. Golf is not boring by any means. The way the game is produced, if you're watching it through a Saturday or Sunday or Thursday afternoon or Friday afternoon, is that they produce it where they're cut into different shots all the time. Something is happening. It's actually very fast-paced if you believe it. Sit down and watch. Put some money on it. You'll get suckered into it and be tuning in week over week. So I'll leave you with that. That's the Masters. I'm going to do a little golf clap to get us going. Jim Nance is going to be calling his many years of calling the Masters. He'll be there, and it's going to be amazing. So kick off to spring, kick off to some real betting. Get out of your comfort zone, put some dollars down, and make it happen. Oh, and if you're, before 8 o'clock tomorrow Eastern Standard Time, if you got anybody out there with a Masters pool like I do, enter that pool. It's pretty simple. It is the majority of pools, not all, but majority of pools are simply, here's 3 boxes. In the first box are the top players in the world. Select 2 of them. In the middle box, here are the second tier, and there's a whole whack of players. Pick 4 of them. and there's a third box, which are the third level players. Pick 2 more, and usually your bottom 2 golfers are eliminated in your score. You just sit back and watch. It's not rocket science. It's meant to give you a little entertainment throughout the long weekend. So that's that for the Masters. So excited. Can't wait to get going here on the Masters and see what happens. I'm almost cheer for the heels, man. I want maybe the Live Tour to make some noise here. So maybe I'm on their side. We'll see. Now, just before we move on to, move on and get, done with the podcast, we're going to talk a little bit UFC. So UFC 287 pay-per-view is on the books for Saturday night. And I just wanted to kind of go through the top 2 fights in the card for you fight fans out there. And again, a lot of the Saturday night is based on how you did in hockey, golf, and you're kind of, all right, what can I bet on? It's late at night. Well, UFC 287 is your play. Now, there's a championship fight. Alex Pereira, middleweight champion of the world, middleweight champion of the world, yep, is a plus 112 underdog against former champion Israel Adesanya. And Alex Pereira beat Israel the last time they fought, ended the fight in the 5th round. I think a lot of fighters believe that Israel is the better fighter, potentially. I mean, that's why the odds are on him. But I would say, as we found out with Leon Edwards against Kamaru Usman, is that when he knocked out Usman the first time with the leg kick, he thought that Usman was going to come back, after that one shot that took him down. That was the change in that fight. He won the fight. He beat Usman in the return fight. And I think maybe the same script is going to be here. That why is Alex Pereira not able to beat Israel? Plus 112, I think there's value there. This is a 5-round fight. So where I'm going to go with is I'm going to pick Alex Pereira to win again. And I'm just doing that because I think there's value. He's won already. And, he's a plus. So I think that's the way to go. Minus 138, fight will not go the distance. I don't think it will. It almost went the distance in the previous fight, but Pereira does wind up in TKO fights. So I think this one's going to end way before the 5th round. Maybe not way before, but before the 5th round. I'll take that at minus 138. And if I believe Alex Pereira is going to retain the belt, I believe it's going to be by TKO and KO. If you look at his history, the majority of his fights end with fists or whatever, knees, and whatever it takes to knock your opponent out, or at least have the referee stop the fight. And that's a plus 210. So I think there's value there. Now moving on to the second probably hype fight of the night on the main card, and that's Gilbert Burns, who's a heavy favorite of minus 530 versus Jorge Masvidal, plus 360. Now I was looking at this, I'm thinking, is Jorge Masvidal being fed to Gilbert Burns, who's a good fighter? Gilbert Burns has lost a good competition, and I think Gilbert Burns is a top-level fighter, but, maybe just a slight below the top, folks in the division. Jorge Masvidal has a 3-fight losing streak, but he's lost to Colby Covington and Kamaru Usman twice, so it's not like he lost to some stiffs. But I don't know. Jorge Masvidal's a great fighter, but he might be on the downswing. But when you look at, again, like those fighters that he just came off fighting, I don't know. I'm kind of iffy. I'm going to be back and forth if I take a chance with Jorge Masvidal to pull off the upset here. But is it really an upset? He's got the punching power and the ability to win this fight, but maybe his time has passed. I don't know. But I think the best bet here is, because this is not a championship fight, this fight's going to go max 3 rounds, and I think this fight will go the distance. Plus 122. I like this fight to go at least 3 rounds and go to the judges. I don't see a knockout here, so I think that's the play to go. So fight to go the distance. Well, so that being that, our focus this week is the Masters and a little bit of UFC. That's the flavor. We'll continue next week and talk more about baseball and some of the other sports as the NBA winds down heading into the playoffs, NHL a little further into the playoffs. But the focus is putting, driving, chipping, and that's the Masters. So get your green jackets out, find your Easter eggs, have a great weekend. The pleasure's all been yours. We're over and out. Bye-bye.